Hello everyone, this is Armando once again here, and I'm in my garden right now, and I would like to, first of all, I'm going to show you all the updates that I've done so far in the new raised bed, and also some updates with the asparagus. So over here are the asparagus plants. So these over here are very healthy and all, and I didn't harvest all of their spears, but I did harvest most of them. And then over here, this isn't doing quite as good because the ferns are smaller and they're not as tall and thick, but that's okay though. So the asparagus so far, these are doing quite great, and so in the first years though, however, you're gonna get very thin asparagus. Like as you can see, this is like pencil thick, and usually like the asparagus that you see in stores, they're like very thick and all. So in the first years that you have asparagus, they don't do quite well, and so you have to wait for like 2 or 3 years before they start storing all their energy into their roots, so they could grow even thicker spears. And so here, a more mature asparagus plant that's starting to grow, and also over here, as you could see, starting to flower a bit too. Um, I can't remember which plants are female and which ones are male, but I'm thinking these are female. And so, last year I got some asparagus fruit, and from there I used the asparagus fruit um, and to get seeds. Asparagus fruit is poisonous, however, so I'm just only use them for seeds. And then here's another one. Um, the stalk isn't as thick. I mean, it's slightly thick, but I decided to leave this one because it's just slightly thicker than a pencil. So you only harvest the spears that are thicker than a pencil. If they're not as thick as a pencil, then you might as well just let them be, and then let them grow before until next year, and then from that year you'll probably get some thicker spears, and you'll only harvest the ones that are thick as a pencil. I've only harvested 3 so far. They're thicker than a pencil, so because this is their first year in the garden, so they're obviously not gonna do quite well in the first year, but maybe next year though. And so here's another one. Like I said, there's not that many that are thicker than a pencil. But over here, there's the stump where I harvested one that was like quite thick. It's right here. This is the stump that I harvested, the first one that I got. So yeah, but it hasn't made another one. I'm kind of concerned about that. But I'm pretty sure they'll start propping one up. But we just need some time. And so I'd like to show you all then the next part in the garden, which is which is basically a little update on all the plants that are in here so far. So here, these are pea plants that I've been growing for, I think, since February. They haven't made any flowers so far, so that's kind of a bit disappointing, but they're starting to look about to mature, and like once the white flowers come out, I'm gonna be so excited to see the peas coming out and all. But unfortunately, they still haven't done any peas or anything, so just with patience though, they'll probably come by. And these plants over here are little cilantro seedlings that I planted probably about 2 weeks ago, and so I'm gonna have to thin them out. I think in the morning I checked and these weren't there. That's so weird. But anyways, here are more cilantro seedlings, and there must be some around here somewhere. Well, I don't know where it's at, but it's somewhere around there. And so as you can see, peas over here, and I also planted a watermelon right at the heart of the square, but it hasn't come out yet. We've been getting kind of bit cool weather so far, so I'm kind of hoping that things start heating up, because supposedly we're not going to have any frost anymore, but I want the soil to be extremely warm so that the watermelon, also warm season crops like peanuts and okra and the corn, will start coming out too. But I think probably with a week or so, they'll start warming up to the point where where the plants are going to start sprouting. So, so that's that. And lettuce, so here I have 2, 4, 6, 8. 8 of these plants right here. And the reason why I have 8 and why I've crowded them so much is because I wanted to see which plants would be best. Since all of these plants were transplanted, I wanted to make sure that all the plants that I planted here will survive through the spring. And because I've heard that probably when you transplant lettuce, there's a slightly lower chance of them surviving. So that's why I want to clip back the worst ones. It was like, for example, this so far is doing better than this one. So by the time these start growing, if this starts to outgrow this, then I'm basically just going to snap it, snap and thin, so that lettuce could start growing and then taking up. So I'm just gonna thin out the weakest ones and leave the strongest ones to survive. But so far I can't tell because they kind of look the same. So probably with some 2 weeks or so, I'm gonna decide whether I should keep them or whether I should trim them back. So there you go. And a little update on beets. Now, as you can see, you kind of can't see a lot of the beet seedlings that I did because if you can see in the previous video, there were much more beet seedlings around here. Well, the reason why is that you can't see a lot is because I thinned them out so that there's like only 9 plants. And in the previous video, I believe there was a lot, like literally, there was probably around 27 of them. They were all crowded in though. So I finally thinned them out so that the strongest seedlings can start growing even faster without the other seedlings slowing them down. So right here, beets seedlings so far, they haven't grown that much, but just with some patience is all I have to say. This little spinach seedling right here, they're what's it called? They're baby leaves. I don't know the technical name, but their baby leaves fell off right now. So these are their true leaves already, and the other ones over here. So right now they kind of look a bit bald because their baby leaves were the hugest leaves that they had, and right now it's very small. But they'll start growing more. And then over here, there's even more beet seedlings that just came out. I planted these probably 2 weeks ago, but I'm going to let them grow, keep growing a bit more before I thin them out, just like these, like what I did right here. And I'm not sure what this plant is. I can't remember whether it's a plant that I planted or it's something else. But I'm just gonna let it grow and see what it becomes to. But I think it's a weed though, so I'm gonna have to weed this thing. I don't know what it is. Yep. And now I'm gonna show you all a little surprise. So these are the morning glory plants. So far only 3. I just barely remembered. I actually bought some morning glory seeds and I forgot them in my dad's house. But anyways, here are some morning glory seedlings, and what they'll start to do is that you're going to start growing up. And the reason why I have this is because I want these to serve as kind of like a trellis for them to climb up, because these could sprawl all over the place. So that's why I have this net over here. So right now they haven't grown necessarily that much, but this hopefully they'll start growing and like some more. Here's another one that just barely came up. Doesn't look that healthy. Hopefully more will start coming up. And yeah, in the future, I think this variety only shows blue flowers, but the new seeds that I bought for these, they have a white, purple, and blue, so that's kind of cool. But unfortunately, I forgot them in my dad's house, so we're gonna have to wait probably 2 weeks before we start seeing the purple flowers and the purple flower plants. But right now they're a bit slow. Oh, and by the way, the interesting fact about morning glories, these plants are actually closely related to sweet potatoes. I'm not sure what their technical name is, but they belong to the genus Ipomea, and sweet potato also belongs to that genus. Ipomea batatas is the very specific name for sweet potatoes. So it's just a little fun fact. Regarding the sweet potatoes, I'm going to plant them as soon as the cool weather starts like dying away, because they need a lot of heat, so then I don't want them to like freeze to death or something. So anyways, here are carrots. I thinned them out just like I did with the the beets, and after I thinned them out, they finally started making their true leaves, so that's good. And they're not overcrowded or anything, so that's one huge thing. That's like a huge positive. These right now, they're still small, and but at least they're starting to make their true leaves. So I'm probably gonna get around 16 carrots. I'm not sure. And over here, I also thinned out these carrots, and there's not a lot of carrots over here. There's supposed to be probably around 4 of them, or 8. I can't do math. But anyways, yeah, they haven't started coming out, so I'm gonna replant this little area, this little bald spot, and see whether they come out or not. And speaking of things that didn't come out, parsnips. So unfortunately, I'm not even sure if this is a parsnip, but unfortunately, I think this one is. The parsnips didn't come out that well, and they say it's very normal for parsnips to not like be very successful because their germination is just horrendous. They're easily washed away, and also the germination is very low. So I'm really not surprised of the fact that they haven't come out yet. But hopefully, it takes about a month, and I planted these around late February. So if they don't come out by next week or something, then I'm gonna plant the rest of the bed with carrots. But at least I have some parsnips, like 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5. I'm not sure if I count this one. 5. Yeah, 5 parsnips. So that's 5 out of the 9. Oh, so that's kind of good though. 5 out of 9 of the parsnips that I've planted have sprouted. So that's pretty good. 5 out of 9. That's a little less than 50%, but I can't be complaining really. Or actually, I think it's a bit more. Well, anyways, on to the next plant. This is tomato seedlings. I finally transplanted them, but they've been kind of looking a bit sad, as you can see. Their leaves are kind of drooping down. It's like the plant's hunchback, but the good thing is, it's starting to make new growth. Like over here, these greener leaves, they're new growth. And well, first of all, let me talk a bit about them. The reason why they're hunchback. 2 reasons. One, because they've been under the growing lights for so long, they really haven't had any space to like extend out of the growing light. So that's why they've been kind of hunched back, like trying to lower themselves down so that they won't outgrow the growing light. So that's why they're hunched back. But hopefully, they only have 2 weeks. So hopefully with time they'll start like straightening themselves out when they realize that, oh, we have unlimited space to grow in, an unlimited amount of sunlight, so we can grow wherever we want. And that's why I have this trellis too, because these plants are indeterminate, meaning that they grow, and literally they keep growing and growing and growing until frost kills them. So these can grow up to 6 feet, but right now they're still little in their seedling stage. So there's only 3 tomato seedlings that I have together, and a little tomato hydra, I guess you could say, in which there's 1, 2, and 3. So like 3 heads, so 3 plants in one space. Just doing that just to save space, and it's coming out pretty cool. It's because I saw it from another gardening video about a guy who planted his 3 tomato seedlings in one space, and they grew and grew. So I was like, well, I guess I'll try this. The reason why I have this trellis thing is because, first of all, I don't have that much space for a 6-foot plant that's gonna be like growing, like it could literally take over this whole plot. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna train it up. And so instead of letting it sprawl and do whatever it wants, I'm going to train it so that it starts growing along these lines, and I'm gonna keep adding lines until they just can't do no more. And then from there, if they keep growing, well, I guess I'll prune them or something. But with these, I'm gonna stake them basically, and control their growth, because I can only, like right now, they're only occupying that little square right there. It's like that little imaginary square. So that's not a lot of space for a tomato, so that's why I'm gonna grow them vertically rather than horizontally, so that they have more space to grow and stuff. But that's that right there. And I also, some other stuff that I planted around the tomatoes, I planted nasturtiums. It's a flower in which you can basically eat the petals, but they haven't come out yet. Anyways, and if they don't come out, I have some extra seeds, so I'll be making updates on the nasturtium flowers and everything. And they're expected to come out in summer, so that's still a long time, but at least I'm gonna make some updates on the seedling itself. And over here, the potatoes, I've planted them right here and right there, and I recently dug one up to see how it was doing, and it hasn't done anything. It's been in there for probably about a month, and they haven't made any roots or anything. So If they don't make anything, then I guess I'm not gonna get any potatoes. But that's okay though. It's because I bought it from the store, and they say that oh they use growing inhibitors and stuff, and so it kind of retards their growth. So that's why it's taking like longer than usual for them to make roots and stuff. But hopefully they actually do make roots because I really want potatoes. I never had a successful potato harvest, only like little teeny tiny potatoes, and so I'm kind of hoping that this spring will be like a miracle. And here and over here I have garlic seedlings. So for a garlic plant, this is first of all, this is not elephant garlic like the one over there at my old raised bed. So this is just regular garlic that's regular sized from the store basically. So far they've been doing quite well. At first I thought that they weren't growing at all, but then if you look closely, these leaves are slightly greener, and then over here is a little tiny leaf that's starting to come out. So I saw that, wow, they actually are growing, and especially this one over here, it's like starting to make huge leaves, and I'm quite proud of how they're doing so far. This one, not so much, but it will catch up though. I haven't given them any fertilizer, so starting next week though, I'm gonna fertilize them. Although I did fertilize the tomatoes, so hopefully some of the fertilizer leached out over here, but I haven't done that much to them. So, and the onions right now, here are, first of all, here's the onion. The kind of variety that I'm doing is one called Red Burgundy. So it's a red variety. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 onion plants. They haven't necessarily grown that much since the beginning. Oops, sorry. Although their leaves have gotten extremely thick. Because when I started them indoors, they were very, very thin and very fragile. But now I see that their leaves definitely progress. Extremely thick. So far they only have 2 leaves, meaning that they have 2 layers. So the number of leaves that your onion has means that the number of layers that they have. So this one, for example, most of them have 2. So that basically means that they have 2 layers. And so what you want to do is you want to encourage your leaves to keep growing and growing, and try not to prune them as much. Because if you prune them, well, you're basically reducing the size of your layers, and you don't want that. So there you go. And here, progress, definitely. So here, if you could remember from the last video, I had a cabbage seedling and I transplanted it. I'm not sure if I actually showed a transplant, but I don't think so. Well, anyways, I transplanted a cabbage and it's doing great, really. Because when it started, it was just only 2 leaves, and now, like, when I see it, like, compared to, like, the first video in which they did, it's done amazing. Obviously, it hasn't started forming the head yet, but as you can see, this is the start of the head right here. This little thing, and then more leaves are going to start growing and growing all around it and making this head, and I can't wait literally to harvest a cabbage head, because I've never had success with cabbage, but hopefully I'm just hoping that this year I'm going to have actually a successful cabbage harvest, because this is the biggest so far that I've grown of a cabbage, because I've tried with red cabbage and it was a failure because they only got like probably to this stage right here, and that wasn't good. But anyways, here this is kale right here, and they've definitely grown a lot, because they started off with like 2 yellow leaves. I think these were the yellow leaves because they weren't getting enough fertilizer or nutrients to their leaves. But finally they've started making some more true leaves, and as you can see, it's starting to get that kale look to it, the very curled leaf look to it. So finally it's starting to make progress. And over here is another little kale plant, and I'm hoping around like by the end of May I'm gonna get some kale harvest. And I never eaten kale, by the way, and so I'm gonna be excited to eat that. And here is like another broccoli plant, and over here is also another broccoli plant. 2 broccoli plants actually. And so right now they kind of look a bit like the cabbage plant, and first of all, let me tell you all of these plants, the cabbage, the broccoli, and then the Brussels sprouts, they're all related to each other. They're the same species, as a matter of fact. The only thing is that they're different varieties. So that this variety of the species, Brassica oleracea, I think it is. This species is has been cultivated just for its head. This one for its flower, this one for its curled leaves, this one for the little balls that come out of the stem. Okay, so as I was saying, sorry, had to cut my video a bit there. My camera ran out of battery. But anyways, as I was saying, these so far are coming out pretty well. Over here, just a little kale seedling that I planted, along with that one over here. And yeah, oh, I haven't told you all about this, but these are radishes right here. They're doing pretty good. And the third row is finally starting to come out, and next week I'm going to plant the 4th row, and I'm going to keep planting until I reach the 6th row, because I don't want that many radishes to harvest. So yeah, other things that I planted. Finally I planted corn, one right there and one somewhere over there, or I can't remember where, somewhere right here, somewhere right there. And I also planted 4 beans, and in total 16 peanuts, so scattered all around here. And you might think that, well, I'm overcrowding the plants a lot. Well, the way I think of it is like, when the heat starts coming in, well, first of all, when the corn comes out, it's going to be very short little seedlings that won't take that much energy from the soil, while these are going to be drawing out a lot. And so by the time that summer kicks in, the corn and the beans and the peanuts will start growing like heck, and the cabbage, however, is going to start slowing down. And so that balance between the growth of the two will therefore be kind of balanced. And also, the corn, by the time it's like very tall, it's going to shade out the plants, of course, but it's actually going to benefit them because they can't take these cold weather plants like cabbage and Brussels sprouts from broccoli. They can't take the summer heat. So what the corn will do is be like an umbrella, basically, shade out the harmful strong light that these plants can't handle. So yeah, so you might think that, well, these plants are going to shade them and they're not going to receive enough light. Well, they are. They're actually going to benefit from this. So yeah. So that's why all the warm season and all the cold season are like extremely packed in, because by the time the warm season start kicking in, the cold season plants are going to start dying out. So that's the reality. And that also over here, oh, I just barely noticed this right here. This is the okra seedlings. They finally came out. I just barely noticed that. That's so weird. So over here, I planted them with the onions and also the garlic. So yeah, they finally started kicking up. They're very slow at first, so it's gonna take them quite a while for them to start growing like 8 feet tall and everything. So that's another reason why. So like, these are gonna keep growing, and then by the time that these are ready to harvest, they're gonna be dying out, and then they're gonna start dying out, and with that, like the okra will start shading them out just in case, like, you know, they keep growing and stuff. So yeah, the okra will work as an umbrella, just like the corn will work as an umbrella for these plants. So yeah, actually, I'm serious. I think they probably just might have come out, because literally I did not see them up until now. That is so weird. I should, I'm not sure. If y'all could like go back to the part where I'm explaining about the onions and garlic and just, I don't know, see if you actually see these things right here, because I swear I did not see them when I was recording about the garlic and the onions. I think they just barely came out. Well, anyways, so that's everything in my garden so far. It's a bit slow right now, but seriously, during the summer it's going to be a lot of stuff to do, a lot of harvesting. But right now it's a bit slow, more planting rather than taking care of plants. So yeah. So thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you in the next video. Alright, take care. Goodbye.